We entered the digital education space about 5 years ago with ebooks, and what we found very quickly is all that was happening is schools were buying tablets, buying the ebook, and they may as well have been just using the paper textbook because nothing had changed in the way the teaching was taking place. So what you end up with is a very expensive textbook, but with no change in terms of learning engagement and learner motivation. So we looked at what was happening, and we found that all teachers were doing was substituting textbooks. And we work with two particular models. The one is called SAMR, which talks about the way you can either substitute or redefine education. And what we want to do is redefine education, and the way we're going to need to do that is by doing teacher training first, and then learners will follow very quickly. Africa's been very involved in particularly rural areas. We set up digital education centres in rural Limpopo, Free States and Mpumalanga, for example, and using those centres as places where teachers can come. We also work with corporates to sponsor teachers so that the payment isn't coming from the teacher but rather from the corporate, who can use it as part of their CSI funding that's being spent, so that teachers are able to qualify. In addition to that, we do offer a number of teachers on an annual basis the course free as part of our commitment to the education process.
Before we're using just the board, you are using, so now you find that the learner, they just calculate using the TED-Talk. They calculate on the screen, so the learner is improving.
We are living in the world of technology. Therefore, there's nothing that we can do without technology. That is why we need these skills for us, therefore, to be able to cope with the changing world. Hence, technology is very key in our days, in our daily livings, of course, and key particularly in the education of our kids.
Basically, it's rolled out in 3 different ways. The first option is if we have a group of 20 people in any particular geographic location, we will go to that place and do the training there, because we can't expect teachers to be crossing the countryside to go to a course. So we don't have a venue in terms of this is the place you go to, we come to you. Secondly, teachers, once they are feeling more equipped, are able to actually do the courses on a webinar system. And in that sense, there are a number of our centres, as well as the Vodacom teacher centres, for example, across the country, where the teachers can go and do a live webinar, or alternatively can watch a recorded webinar and still do the assessments and get their PD points. Where data is used in a training venue, we take our own data and routers with, so that we can make sure that everything is accessible. And then by utilising places like the Vodacom centres, it means that teachers actually have access to that data for free, so it's not going to cost them anything to be able to do those courses. And secondly, we always make sure that our products are as bandwidth light as possible and data friendly rather than expensive. The school results have been very positive, and more importantly, in some ways for me, the morale of teachers has changed, because suddenly they're able to do things differently in more useful ways, and they're seeing response from the learners, which makes them feel more with it. So one of our schools, for example, we implemented a maths program on tablets, and the teacher went to school every Saturday so that the kids could catch up. Now that's quite a sacrifice from the teacher, and shows motivation from the learners that they're prepared to give up their Saturdays to do mathematics, which is supposedly that scary subject.